Call to order. Lorraine Hain, not here. Rigoberto Juarez. Donald Atkinson. Here. Damon Collins.
Here.
Jason Black.
Here.
I'm here. Karen Kinlaw.
Here.
Okay. But I don't need to do Dan and them, right? And Bobby?
No.
No, okay. All right, thank you everyone for being here. Are there any public comments? Again, are there any public comments?
Citizens comment.
Citizens?
Now
Okay.
we're gonna go to the pledge.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I have really jumped ahead. We haven't even said the pledge. So can we stand and say the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance
Allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God,
one and indivisible.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And again, are there public comments? Correct.
and then the next one will be the pledge.
3 times, okay. Are there any public comments? Once? Okay, thank you. You know I was about to do it again. All right, wait a minute, Tammy. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to have there's a public hearing. The Economic Development Corporation hereby gives notice pursuant to the Development Corporation Act, Texas Local Government Code, Section 505-160, that the corporation will consider as a project of the corporation the expenditure of funds in the estimated amount of $7,213.75 to be required for or suitable for 1, infrastructure necessary to promote or develop new or expanded business enterprises, limited to A, streets and roads, rail spurs, water and sewage utilities, electric utilities, or gas utilities, drainage site improvements, and related improvements, and B, telecommunications and internet improvements. Text Local Government Code 501.103. Number 2, land buildings, equipment, facilities, and improvement found by the Board of Directors to promote or develop new or expanded business enterprises that create or retain primary jobs, including public safety facilities, streets and roads, drainage and related improvements, demolition of existing structures, general municipally owned improvements, and any improvements or facilities related to a project described herein, Text Local Government Code 505-155. And 3, equipment, facilities, and improvements found by the Board of Directors to promote new or expanded business development, Texas Local Government Code 505-158. Project 2023-01, Manvel Retail LLC. Grease trap for the retail strip center located at 19931 Morris Avenue, Manvel, Texas 77578. Applicants, Manvel Retail LLC and Billy Dano's Donut Incorporation. Said project is to include the expenditure of up to $7,213.75 to be paid to co-applicants, Manvel Retail LLC and Billy Dano's Donuts Incorporated, to construct a new grease trap to serve a retail strip center in a commercially targeted area, which will further economic development and retain jobs in the city of Manvel. Project 2023-01, Manvel Retail LLC. And our regular agenda. 3 times of comments. Are there any comments? Again, I'm calling for any comments. Third time, any comments? Okay. And the time is 6:10 PM. Okay. We continue with our regular agenda. Consideration and possible action to improve and forward with recommendation to City Council Project 2023-01 Manvel Retail LLC, grease trap for a retail strip center located in 19931 Morris Avenue, Manvel, Texas 77578. Applicants Manvel Retail LLC and Billy Daniels Donut Incorporated. Said project is to include the expenditure of up to $7,213.75 to be paid to co-applicants Manvel Retail LLC and Billy Daniels Donuts Incorporated to construct a new grease trap to serve a retail strip center in a commercially targeted area, which will further economic development and retain jobs in the city of Manvel. Project 2023-01 Manvel Retail LLC. Okay. We will now go into executive session. Nope. Oh, my God.
So you can have discussion on this and then have action on.
Wait a minute. Say that again, I'm sorry.
So you'll have discussion on this and then
Okay.
take action on whatever.
Okay, we will then tell them. Okay, we have a discussion on this?
I have probably just a question for Bobby. Bobby, do we figure out who all the money needs to go to directly? And I know that was kind of confusing last time.
Well, I did speak to Billy Daniels Donuts folks. They did submit a co-application officially on paper, so we can include them as a double applicant. And they said that they worked it out with the Manvel Retail LLC as to the apportionment. So I guess we would probably just give a dual check, and then they could cash it and sort it out. But he told me that that's been sorted between those folks. And from nodding in the audience, I think that that's they're concurring
Yes.
that this has been sorted out. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No, I think everybody, okay. We need to vote.
No, you'll take a, get a motion in a second.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All that agree, please raise your hand. All abstain? No one, okay. All righty. All five. Motion carries. Thank you. Next executive session. Approved?
Congratulations.
Okay.
And then we'll be in agreement that will follow.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we're going to go into executive session. Manvel Economic Development Corporation will convene into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations to discuss the following. We're going to discuss economic development incentives requests for HJR Highway 6 LLC. We're in adjournment at 6:14. Time is 6:57. Okay, it's on. Regular agenda, 2, consideration and possible action to direct staff on project application 2024-01, real estate development, being a request for assistance to bring utilities from the north side of Highway 6 to the south side for property located across from the Manvel Town Center, being 3.76 acres. There was no action taken on that this during the executive session, and I'm going to turn it over to.
Thank you, Rubina. Richard, I'm sure you want to come and tell us all about what you're trying to do here.
Oh, sure.
Come on.
I don't know, what all do y'all have? Do y'all have a site plan or?
Yeah.
We have,
You sent me an email.
You
to
printed
print
it.
for them.
Okay, great. Yeah, we've been in the, this is Jake Baker, by the way. And we've been in the development business for, I don't know, since early 90s. And this is a typical shopping center. We've built many of them. I couldn't even tell you at this point how many. And we're excited about the project. We've done 3 projects in Manvel, and all those projects have been successful. And we like the community. We like working with you guys, and like the area. And so we knew that HEB was coming long before it got there. So back in 2018, we bought the land across the street with full intentions of building a retail center. We started the process when we came down and had a pre-development meeting, and at one time then learned there's no utilities over there. And we're like, well, they've got to be coming sooner or later. And it got to be so long that we kind of pivoted and went and said, well, we'll build storage on the project, and then came down and we're sitting in a pre-development meeting talking about that, and Dan Johnson was like, well, why did y'all pivot? And we said, because they're not utilities. And I said, well, guess what? We're going to take over the utilities from the developer. So we do have utility capacity. So we pivoted right back, put together our multiple site plans, started marketing to various tenants. We've got, Starbucks is about to put me in a chokehold, as Dutch Brothers Coffee is. The T-Mobile guys, broker's a really good friend of ours. He's actually Jake's next door neighbor, and he is up in arms about why we are stalling and can't deliver for him. McAllister's Deli has been in touch with us. There's a Quick Quack Car Wash that's been begging us. So we got a laundry list, and there's, I don't know how many dentists. I don't know why all of a sudden my phone's blowing up for dentists to go in there. Because all the donuts. I did see 2, the Shipley's and the one right next to it. But anyway, so we've got the activity, and we've had activity, but now we've got people pushing us to the point of, hey, you've got to commit. And we can't commit to those tenants because we back into rent, because the rents are astronomical these days because of construction costs and interest rates already. So we can't commit to those tenants, because if you ever tell them this is what we're going to do, and then I can't do that, and Jake can't do that, we're going to ruin our reputation with tenants that we've had relationships with for 20 plus years. So that's why we're here to say, guys, we need help getting those utilities from the north side to the south side of 6. There are no utilities over there. The Chevron works off of a well and septic currently. And once we bring those utilities over there, that'll open up for other people on the south side of 6 to also have utility service, public utility service. Did that answer the questions?
Okay.
did you have something or no?
No, it does. Is there anything else you want to expound on? To tell us about?
Well, we've gone through, the only thing I'll tell you is that once Dan did tell us that, our civil engineer, Scott, who's here in the community, went ahead and produced a complete set of water and wastewater plans, and we actually had those estimate done for those.
I believe we
didn't
have
make
that
up
in our
these
packet,
numbers.
do we?
These numbers came
Yeah.
from a literal set of plans, and it's not something we just dreamed up. We actually went to the professionals had it designed, hadn't bid it yet, but from the preliminary numbers, that is the cost to bring those.
Sorry, quick question. So the plans we got, can you hear me?
Yes,
I see it say 2022.
yes,
These are plans for an estimation from 2022?
yes.
Okay.
I'm not worried about any increase.
Okay.
And you guys, whatever y'all commit to, we're very appreciative, and we understand that the cost overrun is naturally ours.
Okay.
But again, we can't put our budget together, and we can't commit to any tenants until we know what we're going to do.
Richard, could you explain a little bit to us about what's changed since the first time that you came in front of us? And I know there's been some changes to some ordinances and some things that have probably helped you guys a little bit with your development. Tell us how that's changed and what has changed with your application from the first time that you brought it to us.
This application,
When you came, you submitted it before, right? And then we kind of pulled it
I
and.
pulled the exact same.
So everything's the exact same. So really
Everything's
nothing's
on here is
changed
the
on that.
exact same.
Okay.
And matter of fact, the tax ramifications to the city are the same because the taxes from 2022 to 2023 are the exact same tax basis that are on the property. Because I told them it doesn't have access, it doesn't have utilities, and it doesn't have, and they won't let us do pump detention, so it's a piece of property that's going to sit there. And they said, oh, okay. And by the way, the other thing that's changed, which is everything today takes a lot more time, is one day this week, or was it Friday, we finally got TxDOT to agree to the driveway.
That's
So,
good.
We've got the major obstacle of access, which was a big obstacle. So TxDOT has said yes to our access point. We'll be sharing that access with Welby Financial that's to the east, the immediate east. So,
And then has there been any movement? Wasn't there a road easement or something that, with this, that was through the city, right? That,
there's if you look at the survey that you have, there's a right-of-way that is a platted right-of-way from a 1912 plat. And that plat shows the right-of-way to our immediate west, abutting us to our west, and to the south. It's our belief that neither one of those right-of-ways will ever be developed. And it doesn't present a problem with the city, it does present a problem with BDD4 because they have this excessive 30-foot maintenance burn they make you have when you're abutting a platted right-of-way, whether or not that right-of-way is in use or not. And with the city, we'll be coming back to say, hey guys, we don't want to escrow half of a road, which we've done on other projects here.
on that right away?
Yes. Because the right-of-way should be abandoned, because Kirby clearly is going to the west.
Will you have to have it abandoned to be able to develop it, you think?
No.
Like, will you have to get that, over
No.
that hurdle? No.
No, we totally don't want it, somebody else can abandon it later, but
Yeah.
we need to go develop now, and it would take too long to abandon the right-of-way.
I think another concern too, of the board is the sizing of the infrastructure that's coming across the road. I think it would be our intention to try to feed other businesses on that side of the road, right? So when you guys were engineering that, was that discussed? And unfortunately, we don't have Dan Johnson here to help us with these kind of questions tonight, but that is for us, I think, to be able to commit, this kind of money, we would need it to be more than just your property.
Oh, absolutely. The water and wastewater that's coming across the road is definitely lines that are much larger than we need. I mean, we're going to have a 4-inch sanitary sewer line coming out of our project, tying into it, and I think it's a 6-inch line coming across for water because you've got to have, it's got to have enough capacity for fire hydrants as well. So capacity sits in the line waiting for a fire to happen. There's totally excess capacity there. It's just, we're going to need a 2-inch line to serve our shopping center.
So I definitely
Domestic
think,
line.
for the board moving forward, that's one of the things that Dan Johnson's going to have to be a part of with us, and just kind of confirming some of that infrastructure requirement of what would need to be brought across the road, just so that we're not guessing that, that would be able to be done in the future with the development that's on that side of the road.
If you look down here do you have this?
Yes.
Yeah, if you look at the top there, it tells you right away that there's a 6-inch water line and an 8-inch casing. And if you come down, there's a 12-inch sanitary line that's going in. And again, that's municipality.
Sure.
Kind of.
I mean, it seems large enough, but,
Yeah.
I do scrap metal
Yeah.
and not engineering.
I
so
understand, you're in the scrap business.
Nothing about that.
You're in the waste business.
I'm in the
aren't you?
waste business, but not
Yeah,
that kind of waste.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. And we don't mind if you confirm. I mean, we understand that totally.
Okay, another thing that I think just needs to be aired out is that, and Bobby, maybe you can explain a little bit on the requirements and the payback and the clawback and just how that would work from a financial standpoint.
I know you've probably been through this before, but to be able to get a grant from economic development, you have to sign a performance agreement and have to agree to a certain amount of capital expenditure and or job creation. And if you don't meet those goals, then by state law, we have to have a clawback provision, which means you have to give the money back. We weren't sure everybody was aware of that, so I think we wanted to make you aware, if you're not already, that would be something.
If you look at the application, I mean, I estimated $6 million in retail sales to come out of there, which is about a $480,000 sales tax. I'm gonna sign something, maybe it'll be a little less, but.
And I think that's what's important is that you have to sign on there to say, hey, it's going to do
The other
this.
side of it is there's, the property tax revenue is it's a multiple of 4. I mean, you have a piece of property that's sitting there today that's, it's just.
With the capital expenditure, like you're going to build a $6 million building that's going to go on the tax rolls, and whatever that amount of capital expenditure you're going to spend to make improvements is key, and then the amount of jobs. And that may be a little tricky for you because it's not necessarily your business that's going to be
Right.
creating the jobs. So you may have to take a little bit of a guess, but it's an important guess because that's the performance standards that get put in the agreement that you have to
Understand.
verify and adhere to. So,
I understand.
yeah. Okay.
I think we could work through that.
Do you have a number you think you'd put on it for jobs, or no? You want to think about that?
I mean, I put a number in here on it for jobs, but I definitely have to go back and think about it. I mean, if you end up, it kind of depends on who ends up in the shopping center too, because if
Right.
you end up with, McAllister's and a coffee user on one end, I mean, that's a lot of employees right there.
Right. And we want you to be successful. We want it to work, so we don't want you to put a number on there that doesn't work.
Okay.
And so it's something that I think takes a lot of thought and, to be very thorough with, so that, when this agreement goes into place, if it goes into place, there's no problems going on down the line. Something else that was brought up that we're going to probably need Dan Johnson on is the capacity of the MUD 42 utilities, because there could be some problem with that of having enough capacity to feed you. And we just don't know the answer to that without him. He brought that up, I think, via Bobby at some point. And so,
Well, that's really surprising because it was Dan Johnson that's why I'm standing here.
right.
It's Dan Johnson who said, we have the utilities, pivot back to retail.
And we definitely want him to confirm that
Yeah.
for us.
And I mean, we've been in,
Well, the city doesn't own both plants yet. They will be
Yeah.
transferred to the city.
yeah,
But the
Which
MUD
is-
has created capacity for itself, not knowing exactly, like you're saying, are their tenants going to be heavy users or not heavy users? So they're not quite sure their capacity needs, but any capacity they've created, basically somebody that ties on would pay the, MUD 42. Then when the city takes it over, any additional capacity the city creates, then the city could get compensated for. But that's a Dan question.
yeah, well, again, I don't know if I'd be standing here if I thought that there was a capacity question.
Well, and it definitely, it comes down to that we want to make the right move with the taxpayer money, that, that all this is even possible. And so just to kind of dot our I's and cross our T's, we really need him to tell us, yes, this is will work. And right now, if the city doesn't own it, we really can't get that answer probably until the city. When does that happen, Bobby?
Soon.
So it's more of a delay than it is anything. It's not a no, it's
Sure.
a delay
I
of
think since the
knowing.
city's operating it, then they're probably going to understand the capacity.
Yeah, and I think that we will get to that point very soon, and when we do, we'll have a good handle on that. But that's just a hurdle that I think is something that we're going to have to to face soon. Does anybody else have any? No?
No.
You've done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's our intention to continue this conversation. We do want this project to be successful, but we want to make sure that we cover all of our bases on it. So as a board, we want to table it until our next meeting, which is going to be sooner than our last gap. We don't, I think, have a date on it just yet, but we're going to come back to it. We're going to get some answers from Dan Johnson and bring him, make sure that he's a part of some of the infrastructure questions that we have, some of the stuff with the mud, and just try to get all of the information that we need, to make a good decision.
I understand.
And so at this time, somebody make a motion to table.
I make a motion to table.
We get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.
Thank you very much.
Number 3. Update from all of those that attended. So Damon attended the Economic Development Sales Tax Workshop. Damon Collins and Jason Black, give us a summary, please.
Yeah, basically the summary of the workshop. They did a good explanation about what type of funding between Type A and Type B, what the primary jobs is for economic development, manufacturing, professional service, and distribution and warehouse. But also, we also can provide economic development for non-primary jobs, restaurants, service stations, and et cetera. For the Type A and Type B, how that get approved is through vote from the sales tax committee, I believe it was, a sales tax election. So that's basically what I got from the workshop. It was very interesting, especially learning about the Type A and Type Bs.
Yeah, I think I can just confirm some of that stuff. And our designation is one that's the most flexible out of the group. And so, our job on MEDC is to promote job growth and sales tax revenue. And so as these projects start to come in, and I think this year we're going to see a lot more than we've seen in the past. It is our job to really go through these and push the ones that are going to get us where we want to go. And we just have to look at it through a growth vision, and not be scared to go out on a limb with projects that are coming to us that are going to produce money. This is an investment, and I think sometimes, I know I do this, I kind of pretend like it's my money, and it's, do I want to spend it? But, if somebody says, give me 10 and you make 100, I'm doing that all day long, and I think that's how we have to look at it from an investment standpoint. But I thought that it was really good. It really gave us an overview of what we can and can't do. And it gave us a resource and, the binder and the information to be able to go back to. So, as we're talking about projects, we can kind of go back and look to see what it says in the book and what we're allowed to do. We're allowed to do a lot of stuff. And, my goal would be for this board to actually do some stuff, something that we haven't really done, I feel like, in the last couple of years that I can tell, and to be a little bit more aggressive in growing the economic development of our city.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you very much. Number 4, consideration and possible action to appoint 2 to 3 board members to attend a business strategy workshop with the Business Advisory Task Force and a few members of the City Council.
So this one, shortly after the May election, there were a few different boards and boards, task force that were created by the council, one of them being the Business Advisory Task Force. The intent of that board, and Mayor, you might correct me if I'm wrong, was they don't necessarily, they're a task force, so they're not a decision-making board, but it was for them to kind of be the olive branch between the city and our city ordinances and our businesses, and kind of get a feeling, look through the ordinances, listen to what the businesses are saying and decide if there's something that they need to come back to the council to, maybe have something amended, or see if it's a life safety thing that it is what it is, or is it just a preference and why some of the things might be the way that they are. Mayor, is that kind of what that? So with that, the mayor and the task force wanted to have a meeting. Of course, to do it with all of you and all of the council, we would have to do it as a posted meeting, but to just have a couple council members with that task force and a couple representatives from y'all's board. It's not a quorum, so we don't have to make it an official meeting type business. Now, on the other side, we limited it to 2 to 3 to make sure, you weren't breaking any quorum rules, but it's very important that you're not relaying the information, the conversations that you have with that task force amongst each other privately outside of a posted meeting. It's something we definitely you can get information from that, those that are nominated and representing the EDC. But Jason, you can't, if Robina's not on there, you'll have a fourth person. If you guys did 3, you'd be starting a daisy chain. So it's really intended for whoever you guys choose to represent you as a board and get information and brainstorm with those other groups on what we can do with our business community.
But once we done that and we was back in a session of meeting, we could discuss it with the others?
Yes, on an agenda item. If there was some really good information that came out of that and you wanted to bring it back and update the board and get the board's opinion on things or projects or something like that, absolutely. We'll get that on an agenda and then you guys all can discuss it.
So we need to vote tonight.
So yes, so this is just appointing 2 to 3 people. If there's only 2 that are interested and willing to give their time, it's just 2 people. If 3 of you are willing to do it, then it would be 3 of you. And then we don't have the date or time set yet. We just need to know which people, but since you guys are an actual board, you will vote on who you would, first, who's willing, and 2, who you would like to represent you to visit with the mayor and that board.
Probably important to note that I'm on the advisory task force, so I have to be there.
So you're just going
So I'm one.
I'm in for it.
You can have 3?
You can do
Would
2,
you like-
one more.
Okay. Because I have enough.
Okay. So Damon, maybe.
Okay, yes. Oh.
So no, yeah, the motion.
Can I get a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint myself, Jason Black, Donald, and Damon to be the board members to attend the business strategy workshop.
No, you're going to be in your capacity as the ad hoc or the MEDC member, because,
Can I do one or the other?
you'll be there for both, but is there, Tammy, is that important to delineate which one the capacity he's in? Because if you have a separate board, technically, the board could vote, yes, we're in favor of it. The other board or the MEDC members could bring it back and say, no, it's not. So I don't know if there's any suggestion, Tammy, that you would make on that.
So I would suggest that you just appoint 2 people to represent the EDC, and Jason, you represent the task force, because this is not necessarily, you're not going to have continual necessary meetings at all of their task force meetings, but Jason, you will be at all their task force meetings. But the council and the EDC is only coming in when the task force needs to meet needs more minds to help them come up
Okay.
with ideas. So that's my suggestion.
All right, so strike that. I make a motion to appoint Donald and Damon to be the 2 board members that attend a business strategy workshop with the Business Advisory Task Force.
Okay. Can I get a
A
second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So, consent agenda. Consent agenda. Receive, consider the minutes today. Receive, consider the treasurer's report today.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
A second.
All right. We have a motion? With vote, the other second? Both, okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Excuse me, call for a vote? All in favor?
All right.
All right. Okay, that's 6, okay.
I make a motion to adjourn?
A second.
All right. Can I call for the vote to adjourn?
Aye.
All right, thanks.